Hello and welcome to another Beardy David video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you're all doing very well and you're excited to see the back of January. Now in February, spring is on the way. Fingers crossed, it's pretty nice today. It actually feels a little bit warmer than normal as well, which is very good. Almost time to crack out the shorts, hopefully. Right, so today I'm going to be telling you about all of the films that I watched throughout January. Now, I watched a grand total of 10 movies, which is a great start as I'm trying to watch 100 new movies this year. And all 10 of them movies were films that I've never seen before, so it's great. So I'm already, if you can do your maths well, 10% into my 100 new movie challenge, which is great. Now, every Saturday night throughout lockdown, and we've done it throughout the first lockdown, and I'm sure many of you have been doing this, but we do a movie night with our friends. And so every Saturday night, because we can't go out on a Saturday night, can we? Those were the days. So we all just pick a film. We all pretty much have the same streaming services. So we pick a film, watch it, we have a little chat about it throughout, and then kind of give it a star rating at the end of it. Simple as that. It's really good. And I like the fact that other people, because our friends, we all kind of have different opinions, different likes and dislikes. So we kind of get a good range of films, which is always nice to see. So without further ado, let's get cracking straight on to my list. So, first up is The Princess Bride, starring Carrie Elwes and Robin Wright. Now, how have I never ever seen this? For being such a fan of 80s movies, I've always kind of tended to avoid this, thinking that I'll probably find it boring, even though I see it as being one of people's favourite comedies on the list and just one of their top 80s films. So I was glad that our friend picked this for our first movie night of the year. And my word, we absolutely adored it. I love the fact that it stars Fred Savage at the beginning, and he's poorly, and his granddad comes in and reads him the story of The Princess Bride, and he wasn't that keen on it, but as the granddad kind of reads the story to him, and then you see it all play out, he really gets invested in it, as we all did. So it's like your classic swashbuckling story with pirates, and loads of sword fights, and Andre the Giant randomly, and it's just great fun. It's really good. You've got some amazing characters in there, and the main plot is it follows Carrie Elwes' character travelling through the land of Florin as he tries to find his one true love, who he hasn't seen for years, and it's a bit bizarre, it's a bit nutty, but it is really good fun. If you've not seen it, I highly advise you you give it your time of day. I think it was only about 90 minutes long, but it's really good. We'll definitely be watching that again, and I'm putting that high up on my list of 80s classics. Then next up is Singing in the Rain with the legends Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds. Now, this is a film that I've also always wanted to watch. I mean, everybody's seen the Singing in the Rain video, and that's amazing in itself. But yeah, the story is absolutely fine. It's okay. It's not groundbreaking, but for a lot of these, the reason that you watch them is the choreography. So there's some good songs there, but the dancing is just insane. I think some of the dance pieces, I think one of them is about 15 minutes long. Just keeps on going and going and going, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, all the set pieces, and it's really cool to watch. So I don't think I'd ever watch it again, but I would definitely say you should give it a go once, just to watch some of the amazing choreography, because we all know how great of a dancer Gene Kelly is. But just when he's dancing with Debbie Reynolds, and there's one of their other mates who's in it, and just they're so in sync with each other. It's so impressive, just how much in time they are with each other. So it's just worth watching it for that. Then next up is the Netflix thriller Spree, starring Stranger Things' Joe Keery and the OC's Misha Barton, which was great to see her, and a little small role for David Arquette. And this was okay. I didn't mind Spree. I actually thought it was going to be a little bit more wilder than it was. So Joe Keery's character he's like an Uber driver. It's not called Uber in it for copyright reasons, I'm guessing. But he wants to become a social media superstar, and he doesn't really know how. He's been trying for years, and he's got a friend who is a social media star, and he's trying to use him to get up, but it's not working. So he decides to go on a murderous rampage instead, and what he does, he puts some sort of poison in water, and that's how he gets his victims, really. And yeah, it's okay. I kind of sat down thinking this is going to be a bit shocking and a bit gruesome, like the thumbnail picture on the Netflix one is just him covered in blood, smiling. So you thought it was going to be a bit wacky. It did have some like oh my god moments, but not as many as I was hoping for. I do enjoy a good thriller, although I'm not a fan of horror. Although this was billed as a horror, but it's definitely not a horror. But this was a very average thriller. Next up is Greed, starring Steve Coogan and Isla Fisher. Now this is loosely based on the life and times of Philip Green, the Arcadia owner who owns like Topshop, Top Man and Miss Selfridge. You basically look at this character who Steve Coogan is portraying and his rise to creating a fashion empire, and it culminates up to him celebrating his birthday bash on an island, I think in Greece, and he spends millions and millions of pounds and he wants to get all the celebrities there and some who are portraying themselves. Yeah, it was very good. It's very much shot as a mockumentary as he's actually writing his biography, and the person who's writing the book is a character who's played by David Mitchell, who's very, very much a dry actor, and I think he suits well in the cast of playing that type of character. And yeah, it's just a very interesting movie. There's a couple of films like that this month that I have found more interesting than actually enjoyable, but not in a bad way, because I kind of like these films that are shot in like a documentary, or that in this case a mockumentary style, because it's interesting, and you find out some like horrendous things about fast fashion and some of the workers like in factories in India, which is awful, and they get paid like 50p a day, which is disgusting. But yeah, it's a very interesting film. It's classed as a comedy. It's got a couple of ha-ha moments in it, but yeah, it definitely feels more like a documentary than a comedy, which is the perfect setting for a mockumentary, really, isn't it? And yeah, it's got a couple of very bizarre moments that I won't spoil for you, which are a bit OTT, but hey, it's the films, they're allowed to do that, aren't they? The next up for our movie night was Just Mercy, and this was my pick, and it stars the amazing Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. Now, in this, Michael B. Jordan is a young lawyer. He's just got his licence, and he's looking for his first case, and Jamie Foxx has been wrongly accused of murder and he is on death row waiting to be executed. And so Michael B. Jordan looks into the case, and the case is horrendous. Like, it's not tight. Like, he clearly didn't do it, Jamie Foxx's character, so Michael B. Jordan had to fight to get him released. And it's just an absolutely incredible story for both good points and bad. And this is actually a true story. And you've just got to watch it to believe. I mean, it's unbelievable, but it is believable, and the fact that it still happens today is absolutely criminal. It's disgusting. Yeah, I don't really want to talk more into this because I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, if you know the actual story, then you already know the ins and outs of it. But if you haven't seen this, please give this a try, because it's just such an emotional watch, and it is like Laura and I, we were in tears throughout. And as a lot of movies that we do watch, we often end up both crying. But this is already an early contender for one of the best movies that I've seen this year. Then next up, we watched The Social Network, starring Jesse Eisenberg and Justin Timberlake. This is all about how good old Mark Zuckerberg created the multi-billion empire that is Facebook. Yeah, he's a bit of an odd character, old Mark Zuckerberg, isn't he? And this really did feel like more of a documentary than an actual movie. And some bits you couldn't quite believe, like what Mark Zuckerberg actually done, especially to his mate Eduardo, who's played by Andrew Garfield, yeah, who they created the business together, and he pretty much just fucks him over. It's awful. Like Eduardo signs all these contracts, and I don't think he really knows what he's signing, unfortunately. And then Zuckerberg just is like, "Yep, see you later. This is my company now." Even though they created it together, it's a really interesting movie. Again, it was one that I did enjoy, but again, I found it more interesting than actually enjoyable. And yeah, just a bit shocking, really. Like, we all use Facebook and Instagram and stuff, but you kind of don't want to after watching this. You kind of think, I don't really want to put money in your pocket, Mark. Then next was my worst movie of the month and potentially worst movie of the year. And this is Blythe Spirit, starring Dan Stevens, who I love. I really, really like Dan Stevens. And again, Isla Fisher. And also Leslie Mann as well. But this movie was just very, very weird. So it's based in the 1920s. And Dan Stevens is an author. But he's got like writer's block. and he's trying to write his next big crime novel, but his wife, played by Leslie Mann, has died, and then his new wife, Isla Fisher, she's trying to help him, and he gets an idea to write a book about a ghost that comes back and helps him solve a crime. So they go to like a medium who's played by Dame Judi Dench, and they kind of like take the mick out of her, but it works. And then Dan Stevens' dead wife, played by Leslie Mann, comes back as a ghost, and she thinks she's alive, and it's just a very wacky, silly film, and we did not enjoy it. It was one of those films where I think every 10 minutes we was kind of like, oh God, we've still got 40 minutes left. Oh, we've only got 30 minutes left now. Yeah, we kind of stuck with it. We should have given up, I think, because even after 20 minutes we wasn't particularly enjoying it that much. But I think it's just because of our love of Dan Stevens that we wanted to see it through. It's shot well, and you really get the look and the feel of being in the 1920s. But the whole like ghost aspect, I'm not really a fan of it. It's just like when Leslie Mann would pick up a vase and then, like, you know, you'd see the vase raise up, and it's just silly things like that. Yeah, it's just not my cup of tea, that one. Then next we watched Disney's Holes, starring a young Sheila Booth and Sigourney Weaver. And this is a Disney film that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind, thinking one day I will get around to watching this. So this is a book adaptation, and Sheila Booth's character, he gets put into like a juvenile, almost like a summer camp for like naughty kids, and they have to go there, and they've got to dig holes, and they don't really know why they're digging holes. They think they're just doing it as like punishment and to learn and to become a better person. But what they actually don't know is that the people who are making them do this are looking for a treasure. And Sheila Booth's character, his like family have got a long line of bad luck, and it all turns out that like his family are part of this treasure, and it's quite an interesting, on the border of being exciting, like adventure film. I must say the first half of it, as it sets it up, is okay. It drags a little bit for about half an hour, but then kind of as the story progresses and you find out more about the treasure and the actual plans from like the villains, it gets more exciting towards the end. I would say it's probably about 20 to 30 minutes too long. I think this is just over 2 hours. And a film like this does not need to be 2 hours. This is a film that you could easily bash out in 90 minutes and make it just as exciting. But sadly, with like the 20, 30 minute like droll that they have in the middle, it kind of slows it down a bit. But I would say it was good fun, and I like some of the characters. It was good. It was cool seeing Sigourney Weaver in like a fun like villain type character. And also a young Sheila Booth as well. And the penultimate movie we actually saw on Apple TV. Like, I would never normally sign up to Apple TV because I don't really think there's much on offer. But when I got my new phone, you got a 3-year subscription to Apple TV. So I thought, well, what the hell, I'll sign up to it. We see what we get over the year. And then I saw the trailer for this, and I was like, let's have a look. So we sat down and watched it the other day. Now, this stars Anthony Mackie, who I really, really love, and then the legendary actor Samuel L. Jackson. So Anthony Mackie's character at the beginning, he wants to try to buy up property so that he can make it available to other black people within his community who can't afford to buy their own houses and flats and start up their own businesses. So he kind of gets into that, but he can't really afford it. So he gets Samuel L. Jackson in, who's got all the wonga. And then so they start buying up property, and then all of a sudden they kind of hit a roadblock at a bank. So they think, right, let's start buying banks. And because this is like 1930s or 40s Texas, black people are not going to have a hope in hell of buying banks, because that's just not anything that the white people are going to allow, which is again disgusting and awful. But so they get Nicholas Holt's character. He kind of plays a front man for them. And then they start buying up all the banks. Now, this was, again, I think this is the third or fourth time I said it. This was a really interesting movie, and it was really, really entertaining. And Lauren and I, we both enjoyed it very much, but we didn't understand what the hell was going on most of the time. There's a lot of number talk. There's a lot of time when they're making sums about the interest of houses and loans and things like that. And it just went right over our heads. We didn't have a clue what was going on. So like, there's like a 5-minute scene when they're looking through the books of all of the banks, and then the scene ended, and then Lauren and I looked at each other like, I don't know what implications this is going to have on the movie. I don't know if the end of the scene was a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, this was based on a true story, and it was, yeah. Although we didn't understand what was going on most of the time, we got the gist of it, but it was really good. It was really entertaining. And even though we struggled with like some parts of the plot with all the numbers, because the actual performances from the actors were incredible, it didn't really matter. We were just enjoying the ride. It's like we don't know where we're going, but we're having fun doing it. And then the last movie of the month was The Devil Wears Prada. Now, Lauren was always shocked that I've never seen this before. Then it popped up on Netflix, and this was her pick for our little movie club. And my word, I was absolutely mentally exhausted. Now, if you don't know Devil Wears Prada, this stars Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep owns a fashion magazine, and Anne Hathaway is like the new assistant to her, and Emily Blunt is like the main assistant to Meryl Streep's character. So we follow Anne Hathaway's character, and even just thinking about the movie stressed me out. My anxiety levels went through the roof watching this. I just couldn't believe how badly Anne Hathaway's character was treated throughout the entire movie. Like, I said to Lauren, I was like, is there going to be a point where like Meryl Streep like becomes nice and then they become friends? And she went, no, she said that does not happen whatsoever. And I just couldn't believe it. I just assumed that is what was going to happen, and like they were all going to become best buds, and Meryl Streep was going to like become a nice person. But she's just horrible throughout. Like I said to Lauren, if I was Anne Hathaway's character, after the second day, I would be in the, or maybe probably even the first day, I would be in the toilet, crying my eyes out. I definitely would have jacked that job in. Also, our friend, he messaged on the WhatsApp group as we were watching the film. He just put, this movie is stressing me out. So I know, like, thankfully, and touch wood, I haven't or never will have a boss like that. Like, I've never ever watched a film where it's made me feel like that before. Like, at the end of it, I was like, felt adrenalised. Like it took me ages to get to sleep that night. It was just crazy. And I said to Lauren, I really liked that film. It was good fun. But I can't be dealing with it again. I don't think I can ever watch it again. But like one of the only main saving graces of it, which calmed me down, was Stanley Tucci's character. Like, he plays that character a lot in films, and he's got it down to a T. And I love seeing him in that role because he's just so nice. Like, I was thinking, why couldn't Meryl Streep be that nice? But there you go. Life goes on, I suppose. So there we go. Those were my movies that I watched throughout January. What films did you watch throughout January? Are there any films that you're looking forward to watching this month? Yeah, let me know, because I'm always looking to add films onto my lists. And then I'm not quite sure what I'm looking forward to in February. Oh, I just want to be able to go to the cinema soon. Hopefully in the next 3 or 4 months, maybe I'll be able to go and watch something in the cinema. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, we will keep on trucking with all of the streaming services, chucking loads of movies at us, which will do for me for now. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will see all you lovely people in the next video.